Hello. I'm going to be talking about the ways to get more clients by getting on the other side of the bed. Now, I'll get to the bed bit in a while, but really what you need to be able to do is to get inside your client's head. And yeah, the bed bit is coming really soon. So to get inside their head, you need to know how your ideal clients are thinking. Otherwise, when you have your sales conversations or you try and sell anything to them, if you are not speaking their language, it's going to make it really hard for you to get new clients. So what I want to share with you is 3 tips to get inside their head, and then I'm going to get to the bit where we'll get to the other side of the bed really soon. Okay, the first one is to speak to them and ask them questions. You see, a lot of people would advise send out a survey form, ask your potential clients questions to hear what problems they're looking to have solved. The problem is that you're not going to really hear them from asking them a few questions on a survey form. You're not going to be able to ask them questions specific to them and go sort of drill deeper into those questions and what's coming up for them if you just do that. So you need to get people on the phone. If you already have clients, the good news is you can ask them, or you can just hear what they're saying. And you might want to ask them some extra questions as well. You could ask existing clients questions like, what was it that made you contact me in the first place? What was it that stood out for you? And ask them questions around why they reached out to you in the first place. What was happening then? A lot of us have come on quite a journey in the area that we are working in. You may or may not have been through that journey yourself. You don't have to have. You don't have to have been divorced to be able to help people recover from the trauma of divorce. You don't have to have had a baby to be a midwife. You don't have to have been there. But for many of us, we have been in the place where our clients are now, where our potential clients are now. But sometimes if it's been quite a while, we kind of forget what it is. We speak from, hi Josephine, thanks for being here. We speak from a place of our evolved self, our self that has been through the journey. So we have to take it right back to the step of, for the people that you are wanting to work with, where are they at? You need to know their language. What language are they using? What are they saying? And as I said, the best way is to get them on the phone. Invite people for a Skype coffee date and ask them questions and hear what they're saying, and then ask questions kind of that are close to it but a little bit different, that'll get you different answers, and write them down. Write down what they say. I always write down what my clients and potential clients say the first time they reach out, whether it's an email or whether it's a call. What are the first words that they say? And I've noticed over the years that even though I've moved through different niches over the years, working with people, working originally in health and in different specialties in that, and then going into coaching, life coaching, and then for the last many years, business coaching. Many people have said exactly the same thing when they first start working with me or when they're reaching out for help, and that's like, I'm stuck, or I need to be rescued, I can't keep going like this, this is unbearable. And these days, that's not making enough money. Not having enough clients and not making enough money. That's what I help women with now. But in the past, it was other things. But it was that language they were using was really helpful for me to be able to talk to them. Because when we move on and get to the part of having sales conversations, you actually don't need to sell at all. If you get really skilled at listening and asking questions and getting absolute clarity on whether you're the right person for them and they're the right person for you. And there's so much more ease to it before you get to that selling bit. That's the basis of good sales, is actually building up these relationships with people and knowing it. So the first step is to ask the questions, get them on the phone. Talk to them, ask them questions. And please only do this with your ideal clients, not with people that, just want to do you a favour. Or maybe they're your sister or your mother, and they just want to help you. If they're not your ideal clients, they're not going to be, what they come up with is not going to be very useful. So that's the first one, ask questions. And the second one is to get used to listening. It depends on what kind of work you've been doing. Some of us, I know as a nurse and then as in health, the reason I went on to study coaching in 2008 was because I felt like I was giving way too much advice. And coaches don't necessarily give advice. There are some times when it's necessary. If I've got more of a mentoring hat on, sometimes I just want to give somebody a real shortcut that's going to save them 6 months of going around in circles and just say, like, no, do it this way. But generally in coaching, we don't give advice. We help our clients to find their own solutions from within. And it's the same in and so I was going to. That's really, really useful for when you're looking for clients, is to not to be coaching them to find the solutions within, but more so of learning to sit back and listen. Really, really listen to your clients. It's what we do in coaching. That's what we do in a lot of professions. But rather than leaning forward and saying, whoa, sounds like you need to do this, sounds like this direction will be good for you, actually leaning back and listening in a really deep level to what your potential clients are actually saying. So when you have those conversations with them, when you're asking them questions, learn to sit right back and listen to what they're saying. And you might just guide them with a few words like, anything else? Can you tell me more? Or how's that showing up in this area of your life or this area? But just sitting back and letting it come and not jumping in too fast. And that's when you're going to get the real nuggets and really get to understand what their problem is. So as I said before, once you know what their problems are, once you're going to have these beautiful conversations with them, the last piece of the equation, the actual selling bit, is very easy. Now, I'm not talking about talking to people and selling to them. That's later on when you're actually having selling conversations with potential clients when they've reached out to you for help. So that's the second one, listening. So first of all is asking the questions, getting people onto conversations, asking questions. The second one is listening on a really deep level. And the third one is, we get to it now, getting onto the other side of the bed. I was a nurse, an intensive care nurse in my younger years, and we were forever having lectures on what empathy meant, what it was like to understand what the patients were like sitting in the bed. And I found it really hard because I'd never been a patient. I'd never really been sick, only when I was very, very small, when I had surgery. But I never, as a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, I was pretty healthy, as healthy as a student nurse can be. And I didn't really understand what it was like to be sick. So I used to really have to practice imagining what it was like for someone to be sick and to have kind of lost their independence and be in that hospital bed. Now, in more recent years, I've had quite a bit of experience with that. I've had quite a few hospital visits and I really get it now. But in those days, I really didn't, and I had to practice it. I used to, when we had the people that had, I trained in a neurological hospital, so would have people with very severe head injuries that really were able to do nothing but maybe then lie there and breathe, and they could do nothing else really. And I used to really try and work out what it must be like for their families watching them, and for someone to go through such a catastrophic brain injury. And I used to want to know what the story was behind the photos that were on their bedside lockers, and to really understand what it must be like for everybody involved in that. And with my other patients that weren't in that condition, I used to do what was very, very naughty and sit on my patients' beds. We weren't allowed to do that as student nurses, but I used to do that quite a lot. I just really felt drawn to it, to actually sit close to them so that I was at eye level with them, and sometimes I'd hold their hand and get them to tell me about their life. What's their life like outside when they're not in hospital? What's it like? How does it feel? And how does it feel to be in hospital? And what can I do to help them? And it was that really trying to grasp, trying to have the empathy, not sympathy. People don't want sympathy. People hate sympathy. It's the empathy of really understanding where they're at and help them at a deep level. And when you have that, when you can get on the other side of the bed, when you can get inside their head, how does it feel to be in this situation? And how would it feel to be out of this situation when the problem is solved? Or with some people, their problems can't be solved. If their problem is maybe a medical problem that can't be solved, but the way that they feel about it can be changed. So whatever the aim is with your potential clients, whatever they're looking for, whatever problem they're looking for having solved, and you being the person that can help them to solve that problem, that's what you're trying to ascertain. And once you can really get that, I mean, so many of my clients that were on the phone with me as potential clients would have said to me, you really get this. That's why I'm going to work with you, because you really get where I'm at. You really understand it. And I do understand. I understand what it's like to go through bouts of having no clients and to have the money struggles and not nearly enough money coming in, or to be wanting to do different work, working in an area that you're getting paid well for, but knowing there's something over there that that's your dream. Your dream is over there, and you can't figure out a way to get it and to be earning the money from it that you desire. And so people can hear that when I'm talking to them on sales conversations, and that's why you hardly have to sell at all once you have these pieces in place. So the 3 pieces are to ask the questions, is the first one. The second one is to listen like you've never listened before. And the third one is to get on the other side of the bed, to get your head on the other side of the bed and to be able to get into their head, to be able to step into their shoes and really understand where they're stuck, where are they at and where they're stuck. If you have any questions, pop them below. Any questions about this, please let me know. Pop them below. Any comments, any questions at all, and I will get back to them. Okay, so if you haven't already popped along to my website, thesarahleather.com, please pop along and grab your free guide. It's 5 steps to get clients now. It's actually 10 steps to get 5 new clients now. I always get confused when I say it. Okay, it's a guide. 5 new clients now. I've got a free guide. Make sure you've got that. Hop on over there and get that. And thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, any comments, pop them below and I will get back to them very soon. Bye for now.